April 2nd, 2021. Today, to break your snooze, bike thievery is on the rise during the pandemic. Bicycle theft increased last year almost 25% after an unprecedented rise in bicycle sales, as Americans look to save money, get more exercise, and prepare for their inevitable homelessness. Unless you're a competitive athlete, owning a bicycle is the clearest way to say to the world, I've fully embraced my poverty. And how do so many homeless people have bicycles? Owning a bicycle requires a pretty impressive level of care for someone who lives outside. I've never been able to hold on to a bike longer than a couple of weeks without at least getting my seat stolen. And I've lived in a home almost my whole life. But I personally won't be caught dead wearing a mask and riding my bicycle around, because that's cultural appropriation, and I have Asian friends. Uber has been ordered to pay $1.1 million to a blind woman who was refused rides on 14 occasions. Lisa Irving said on some occasions drivers were verbally abusive about letting her guide dog Bernie into the car. Bernie, huh? Get out of my car, you goddamn commie. One driver allegedly cut her trip short after falsely claiming to have arrived at her destination, which is fucking mean and a really cold thing to do. But it's pretty funny though. A 7-year-old boy could be facing rape charges in upstate New York. No details about the incident were given except that it was alleged to have happened on Thanksgiving, leading some to speculate that the victim may in fact be a turkey. But authorities have stated that at this time, there is no suspicion of foul play. Iraqi baby born with 3 penises. Reports circulating today about a baby born in Iraq in 2019 with 3 penises. Doctors had to remove 2 of the penises when a cavalcade of worshippers started making pilgrimages from across the world to see the child's penises. Although this was the first time in medical literature that a human has been born with 3 penises, 2 of them were in fact non-functioning and were surgically removed. Doctors said of the surgery, in this case it's sort of like a gay couple who both have erectile dysfunction. We'll be happy as long as at least one of these penises works. Tease in the day, y'all. Tease in the day, y'all. And I'm Chris James. April 2nd. April 2nd, 2020. Weekly reports show a record high 6.6 million Americans file for unemployment following the shutdowns due to the pandemic. So at the end of the day, the immigrants did not in fact take our jobs. They just came over and sneezed on them so that nobody else could have one. That was a fake sneeze. This coincided with marijuana legalization and stimulus checks being sent out. So not only were a record high number of people unemployed, but a record number of unemployed people were high. April 2nd, 1877, the first human Cannonball act, 14-year-old Rosa Matilda Richter dazzles an audience at the Royal Aquarium in London. And let's be honest, it was 1877. This was before they invented safety. They probably just loaded that gal into the gun and put out a twin mattress on the other side of the parking lot and started selling tickets. Audiences were mostly dazzled by the flatness of her head after she stuck the landing like a lawn dart. Lawn dart, like a lawn dart. That's pretty cool. Who the fuck knows what a lawn dart is? Probably people who were born in 1877. Also, she was a 14-year-old girl in the 1800s. She probably didn't have much say in the matter. Get in the goddamn cannon, Matilda! I don't care if you can't hear anymore. Blasting you out of this cannon's the only thing paying for your sister's scoliosis brackets! April 2nd, 1902. The first full-time movie theater in the U.S. opens in Los Angeles, California. I feel like the only people who go to movie theaters anymore are 130 years old. They probably remember this. The new electric motion picture theater was called Electric Theater, because when you're the only one, you don't have to be creative or even good. Just look at the government. April 2nd, 1917. Women finally gain representation in the U.S. House of Representatives as its first female member, Jeanette Rankin, begins her first term. Over 100 years ago, women were first given a voice in the legislature. Now, superstar female politicians like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and AOC have really made us regret that. It is kind of funny, though, that before that, government was literally just a bunch of smelly old dudes doing smelly old dude shit, like smoking cigars and drinking whiskey and dueling each other with pistols. There used to be a sign that hung over the halls of Congress, and I don't know how to pronounce the Latin words, but they translated to He-Man Woman Haters Club. Imagine being the first guy to make that suggestion. Like, hey, you know how we might be able to set aside our emotions and really focus on finding solutions to our problems? Let's get the women involved. Notable April 2nd birthdays include famous punching bag Rodney King and famous feminist Camille Paglia, who looks like a dry-rotted steering wheel that eats pussy. I'm teasing today, y'all. I'm teasing today. When I get that feeling, transsexual healing. The pot roast. April 2nd, 2021. I think one mark of how civilized a society is how well they treat their handicapped people. Because there's no such thing as handicapped in the wild. You know what they call someone who's handicapped in the wild? Food. So as human beings, we reject the cold, uncaring discernment of nature and recognize disabled people's contribution to society and their right to live. But we're getting pretty sick of deaf people. Deaf people have been stealing the spotlight for far too long. Being a sign language interpreter has become like a performance art, and it's not good. It's not a good one. Like, bitch, I'm trying to watch Eminem, you know, and you're over here in the corner of the screen voguing like a crackhead at a rave, flapping around like a wounded bird. I can't concentrate, lady! After one of Joe Biden's speeches, the sign language guy started signing to the music. Like, who was that for? Deaf people don't listen to music. That's like translating porn into Braille. No matter how much a blind kid runs his fingers over some bumps on a page, he's never gonna see a titty. Like, can you just be humble, deaf people? Maybe save a little attention for the rest of the handicaps? Just imagine how ignored blind people must feel right now. Is anybody thinking about their problems? Like, what do blind people see when they listen to porn? You know, the transition from phone sex to text sex must have been really tough on blind people. But has anyone asked them? All these actors are out of work making stupid videos about health seals. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have them narrate hardcore porn for blind people? Wouldn't that be a nice thing to do? Instead of going on Instagram to take responsibility for a bunch of cops killing some black guy? If celebrities instead just narrated a blacked.com gangbang? I'd rather watch Aaron Paul whisper into the camera like Batman about big black cocks for the benefit of the visually impaired. But then they'd probably ruin it anyways by getting some sign language douche into the corner of the screen to interpret the penetration. Just attacking deaf people. It's literally not even their fault. It's like the people who are trying to help who are fucking it up. It's funny. It's like those people in traffic when you're trying to get out of a parking lot onto the street and they stop in the close lane and wave you out, but there's still 2 other lanes of traffic that are moving and you're just like, fucking go! Get out of here, asshole! Like, over courteous. Like, your courtesy is not welcome here. You're fucking it up for everybody. There are rules here. Next time somebody stops and tries to wave you out into oncoming traffic, just roll your window down and go, fuck you! That way they get the point. Going Skitso. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. I'd like to thank the staff and my incredible sign language interpreter, Jeffrey. Thanks, Jeff. That guy's a rock star. I want to tell you a story from Myanmar. A father was slicing cucumbers for his 10-year-old daughter. She had dreams of being a hairdresser or a queen. She couldn't decide. She grabbed a cold slice of cucumber and ran happily down the path toward the trees at the edge of their property, when she seemed to stumble. Her father recalled she landed flat on her stomach. The slice of cucumber slipped from her grasp, falling onto the reddish earth of their small town in Myanmar. The girl's father ran to tell her it was okay. She could have another slice of cucumber. He scooped her up, limp in his arms. But it still didn't register where all the blood was coming from. Why she wasn't saying anything at all. The bullet hit the left temple of his daughter at just before sunset. Less than an hour later, she was dead. Jeffrey, have you been doing that the whole time? I'm trying to tell a story here, man. You hear me, Jeffrey? Can you hear me? Try to tell a story, kid dancing around. What the hell's the matter with this fucking guy? Hey! What do blind people see when they have wet dreams? Why do deaf people scream? You're pretty tall for a mini golfer. Dreams. People scream. Deaf people scream. People scream. People scream.